apparently decided not to come today. So, all right. This is for everybody, not just for you 4 that are here right now, or 5 that are here now. Hey, we got 5 now. But you are required to watch all of the videos. True, I do not know who does and who doesn't. And I don't care if you miss one day and you go back and watch it. But let me tell you, for those of you that have watched it, you have found some very big advantages in watching them, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, because what do I do sometimes? I sometimes give you answers to certain things. I also sometimes give you answers to parts of pages. Sometimes I give you answers to the entire page. And it's way to your advantage. I also, for the history quiz review, so David, you're like, oh, I didn't know that. There's a reason why you didn't know that. I'm also giving you sometimes, every time we have a quiz or a science quiz or science quiz coming up or a history quiz, I definitely give you all the things you have to know for that quiz. And so you know exactly what to study for that quiz, which has helped some of you. But I can tell some of you are not because of your quiz grades, because it's obvious then that you're not actually following along and doing and listening to the higher video. Look, I know that the longest video I have is about 20 minutes long, and that's usually a devotional video. And that also includes things that you might need to know for the day. So you want to make sure you're watching those. And also, for those of you that are just joining on, you will want to go back and watch the beginning of this video, because there's some things that I have already said that you missed because you're a little bit late coming on, which I can understand happens sometimes. I'm going to try to get started at 10 every day, right at 10 or maybe a little bit after, but also make sure that you are watching it. If you came in late, make sure you go back and watch at least the beginning of it until the part that you know where you came in on, so that you don't miss anything. Because going back for everybody else's, I'm not going to go back for everybody else's sake who was there. I usually will get logged on anywhere between 5 minutes till 3 minutes till. And then that's when it's available. Usually the first person on is Sophia anyway. She usually signs on before I even get on there. I always get a notice, so she kind of helps remind me, even though I usually remember anyway. But we are on page 159 in your language. Remember, you have a math test today, so there is no math that we're going to cover. Tomorrow's lesson, the 105 evens only, is due tomorrow. We'll check that together at that time.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
I have a math test pass.
Okay. All right. So you're going to use that. I'll write that down.
Okay.
And actually, what you can do, instead of tearing it up, just go ahead and include it in your packet, and then that'll be your math test for your packet. But that means you have 4 half lessons then. Well, you'll have 5 half lessons, because next Wednesday will be a half lesson as well. All right.
Okay.
All right. So don't forget, tomorrow we are doing a hat day. So wear some kind of a special hat or a funky looking hat. Some of them, please wear one that covers your face, so I don't have to look at your face. That would be fine too. But I know you want me to wear one so you don't have to look at my face either, right? All right, so here we go. We're in language, page 159, and this is the answers that I'm starting here. All right, so number 1, you should have a quotation mark before the I and after the period in life. Number 2, it should be, I'll just tell you what they're around. Around, let there be light. Number 3, it should be around the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Number 4, it should be around my soul doth magnify the Lord. Number 5, it should be around no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. Number 6, it should be around believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved in thy house. Number 7, it should be around almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. Number 8, it should be around behold the Lamb of God. Number 9, it should be around my son, God will provide himself a land for a burnt offering. And then number 10, it should be around he must increase, but I must decrease. Any questions on any of those? All right, that one was pretty easy, but the second part is probably going to be a little bit more difficult as far as making sure you have the right punctuation, okay? So, all right, this is the way it should go for number 1 on Think D. There should be an opening quotation before the what at the beginning of the sentence, and then there should be a question mark after here, and then closing quotations right after the question mark. All right, did that make sense? Any questions about that? Yes, David, go ahead. Oh, and then period at the end of the sentence. Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that. So period at the end of the sentence as well. Did you still have a question, or was that your question?
No, I still have a question.
Okay,
what about
go ahead.
for doest? Do we have to do anything for those?
What do you mean do anything for them?
Doest.
Do what for it?
No, do the word doest in the sentence. Do we have to put a mark?
Do we have to do what?
Never mind. I got that. Never mind.
Are you not confused now?
I'm not confused now.
I am.
Okay.
So what is it you were thinking, that it was misspelled and you had to fix it, or you thought maybe it was like contraction?
I thought it was a contraction.
Yeah, it's in King James. That's why it's like that. So yeah, I understand now. Okay, so here we go. Number 2, you should have a comma after replied, then an opening quotation after the comma before the I, and then a period at the end of the sentence and a closing quotation mark after the period at the end of the sentence. Number 3, opening quotation before the will, comma after sir, I'm sorry, not comma after sir, a question mark after sir, and then a closing quotation after the question mark on number 3, and then a period at the end of the sentence. Number 4, opening quotation before certainly, comma after Christian, closing quotation after the comma, and then a period at the end of the sentence. Number 5, comma after asked, and then opening quotation right there after the comma before Christian, then a question mark at the end of the sentence, and then closing quotation after the question mark. Number 6, opening quotation at the beginning of the sentence before the would. After journey, there should be a question mark, and then closing quotation after the question mark, and then a period at the end of the sentence. All right. I didn't hear. What did you have a message for me, Giselle?
Yeah.
I didn't. Giselle?
What?
Did you have a period? I mean, a period. Did you have a question for me?
Yes.
Okay, what was your question?
I was in the cloud and it logged me out and I couldn't get on it. And then like 15 minutes I couldn't get on it and then I got on it.
All right, you have to get a little closer because you came in and out. I couldn't hear all the message. Can you say it again?
I was in the call and then it logged me out of it and then I couldn't go back in it for 15 minutes.
Today?
Yeah.
Couldn't be, ma'am, because you mean you were there right at the beginning before we even started class? Because it's only 10 after right now.
Yes.
And then it wouldn't let you back in? Somebody logged you out?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I did record it, so just go ahead and go back to the beginning and look at the part that you missed until you get to the part where you did come in, okay? It'll be, usually it's on the chat part right after class is done. It's pretty much there right away, so you can watch it from there. Or if you wanted to later, you could go and look at it on the YouTube channel, all right? All right, so we are on number
7.
Number 7, yeah, number 7. So after the the word said, there should be a comma, then an opening quotation right after that before the sum, and then a period at the end of the sentence and a closing quotation mark after the period. Number 8, there should be an opening quotation before Christian at the beginning of the sentence, comma after you, and a closing quotation after the comma, and then a period at the end of the sentence. Number 9, there should be a comma after said, opening quotation before thy, a period after forgiven, and then closing quotation after the period. Then number 10, there should be a comma after the word sang, S-A-N-G, then an opening quotation before the what, and then an exclamation point, and then a closing quotation at the end of the sentence. All right. Does anybody have any questions? This is kind of probably the first time you've not necessarily done this, but done it in a while. Does anybody have any questions about anything about how something was done or why it was done a certain way or anything like that?
Mr. Jones,
Yes, go ahead.
this is Sophia. Would you repeat number 2 and
Sure, number
6?
2 is a comma after replied, and then opening quotation before I, and then a period after come, and then a closing quotation. Then number 6, opening quotation before would, then a question mark after journey, and then a closing quotation after that, and then a period after Christian at the end of the
Mr.
sentence.
Jones, I meant 7.
Okay.
and
Comma
seven.
after said on number 7, opening quotation before some, and then a period after death, and then closing quotation mark.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions about how something was done or why it was done a certain way? Anything like that? Okay, everybody's good? All right. So let's go to the next page then. Now, remember how we used underlining for marking certain things? We're going to do something similar to that, except in basically the way it works is this. You've got the bigger something is, when you have something that's big, it's going to be underlined. For instance, a book, okay? So a book title will be underlined. But let's say if it was a book and it had chapters in it. The chapters, which are the smaller parts of the book, the titles of those would be in quotation marks. So a magazine title, the title of a magazine is underlined. Remember, we learned that from last time. But the article in the magazine, the title of the article would be in quotation marks. Same thing for, they give you all kinds of things here about that. And so short stories, which are, for instance, short stories are not a full-size story. And, the question is what constitutes a short story? What constitutes a full-size story? If you don't know, ask me. Text me, and I'll let you know real quick, as quickly as I can, whether it's a short story or whether it's an actual name of a book. Usually within the sentence, they'll kind of give you a hint as to what it is. For instance, it says here on page 160, quotation marks for titles. It says use quotation marks before and after the titles of short stories, poems, songs, chapters, articles, and any other parts of books, magazines, and newspapers, okay? And so there it says Rikki Tikki Tavi is a story. All right. Now, if it was a book, an actual name of a book, then it would have said a book by Rudyard Kipling. So they give you a hint by saying it's a story right away. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any questions about that? So that's what they're trying to get you. So you can usually get it from from what's in the sentence itself. They sort of tell you in the sentence, but then you've got to. Sometimes they don't, and so you may have to ask, and that's fine to do that. Or you can look it up if you want to look it up online. If you want to look it up on your, Google it, what it is. That's fine. Go ahead and do that, and then it can tell you what it is. Then you'll know what to do with it. Okay. So, excuse me. The second thing there, I have memorized the poem, The Village Blacksmith. Florida State song, and so there's a song, is Old Folks at Home. Your history assignment is to read chapter 3, and then they give you the title of chapter 3, and that's all in quotation marks, okay? And notice that in the last one it says, in the three of the examples, the second, third, and fourth example, the period goes inside the quotation marks. Anytime you have a period at the end of a sentence, and that's part of the quotation, even if it's just the title, the period always goes inside the quotation mark for that. Okay, so then it says look closely, and it says insert needed quotation marks around titles in these songs. All right, so for number 1, Nizar, what do you think quotation marks should go around on number 1?
The creation.
Okay, so you'd put an opening quotation before the, and then closing quotation after the period after creation. All right, Elijah, what about number 2? Is your, I think your microphone's off. Your microphone. Oh, there you go. Okay.
The Christian soldier.
Okay, say that again. Around what?
Christian soldier.
Okay, not Christian soldier, because the name of the whole song is what?
Onward Christian soldier.
Right. So it would go before the onward and then after the period after soldiers. Okay, Schlock, how about number 3?
Where are we on?
Number 3 on Think A on page 160. Where were you?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
Before the decreasing and after the period after death.
Very good. Okay, before decreasing and after the period after death. All right. And then number 4, how about you, Sophia?
Put quotation marks before that and after heart.
Very good. After the period after heart. Very good. Okay. Number 5. What do you think, Tejas?
After poem and at the end of the period.
That would not be correct.
Taken.
What's that? Yeah, go ahead and do it again.
Okay. After poem and after taken.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, because the by Robert Frost is not part of the title of the poem. So the road not taken is what should be in quotation marks. Very good. Nathan, how about you? And microphone too, please.
Before the and after Maggie.
Magi, yeah, it's called The Gift of the Magi. Has anybody ever heard that before?
No.
You may have heard it, but I'll bet you if I told you the story quickly, you'd probably know. The Gift of the Magi was basically a husband and wife. They were very poor, and the wife cuts her hair off and sells it in order to buy her husband, and I can't remember what it was he had, but maybe it was a chain. I think it was a chain for a pocket watch that he had, so that he could have the chain for it. And then he sold the pocket watch in order to buy a ribbon for her hair, which she had cut off. And so that's the Gift of the Magi. That was a pretty interesting story that was written by O. Henry. And all right, so next is the number 7. And so let's do Alina.
Before Africa and after the period of ago.
Very good. All right. Elizabeth, would you mind turning your microphone on and doing number 8, please? Okay, say that one more time. Before what?
Before Jabberwock.
Okay, and then after what?
Jabberwocky.
Yeah, it should be all around Jabberwocky. Very good. I'm going to read you. Go ahead. We'll do this, and I'll come back and I'll read it to you in a minute. But number 9, let's go ahead and do. Let's see, Angelica. Why don't you go ahead and do number 9? Your microphone's off, Angelica.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
I don't have the book.
Where's your book?
I'm not by it. I don't know where it is.
You lost your book?
No.
But you just said you don't know where it is.
I didn't
Okay,
lose
we'll go on to David. Go ahead, David, number 9.
Put quotations before 2 and after the period for mouse.
Yes, so around 2 a mouse with the period inside. Okay, and then number 10, how about Ella? Why don't you go ahead and turn your microphone on and tell us?
The Star Spangled Banner.
That you got it partly right, but it's not with the word the. The is not a part of the song. That's why it's not capitalized. If it was a part of the song, it would have been capitalized there. But Star Spangled Banner is actually the name of the song itself. So.
It is capitalized. It is.
Oh, it's not in my book. Let me look that up real quick and see if that's correct. So if it's capitalized, then probably what they did was they had made a mistake to begin with. I'm just going to look at the, yes, let's see. Oh, it is with the, okay, so yeah, it should be around the Star Spangled Banner, okay? All right, so what you're going to do on Write B is you're going to come up with the title of a song, and then you're going to write sentences including these. Now, you can combine some. That's fine if you want to combine like the title of a song, title of a short story in the same sentence, but don't just list them. All these titles are in my sentence. You know, you put the title of a song, title. Just try to do them individually. Then let me read to you that poem, a part of it at least. It's not very long, so it shouldn't be hard. So here we go. This is by Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mobe wraths outgrabe. Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tumtum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood and burbled as he came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, calais, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mauve rafts outgrabe. Made sense, right?
Nope.
That's why they call it a nonsensical poem, because it makes no sense whatsoever. Except for what? What can you gather? What can you gather from that poem?
It's
What can
interesting.
you gather? What can you understand that happened in there? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody has thoughts? You guys talk all the time. Nobody has thoughts. Okay. Did he do something to the jabberwock?
Yes.
What did he do?
Good question.
He cut it up into pieces because it said he took his sword. The vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it dead with its head. He went galumphing back. He went back with its head. And so, anyway, all right. So let's look at page number 161. And in this page, this is where you have to decide whether or not it's going to be a quotation mark or underlining. Okay, now, so this is where you get to test the skill, all right, as to which one is quotation mark, which one is underlined. All right, so it says, place needed quotation marks around the speaker's words in this passage taken from Mark 14:26-31. So that you can do on your own. But look closely. It says, notice the use of ellipses points. Go back up to the very first sentence on the green box there. And ellipses points are 3 dots together. What that means is there's a continuation of what is being said or quoted in that quotation. So go back to that quotation. It says, when they had sung an hymn, they went out into a Mount of Olives, and Jesus saith unto them, or he said unto them, comma, and then all ye shall be offended because of me this night, ... And then you notice there are 4 dots. Well, the reason there are 4 dots is because the ... means that there's more there to the sentence, but then there's a period, meaning it goes all the way to the end of that sentence. Okay? So the things that are left out is the ... part, or the 3 dots. That's the ellipses. Then you have a period, meaning it goes all the way to the end of that sentence. Okay? So there are 3 dots is the ellipsis point, but then you have a period at the end of that. Okay? And it says ellipsis points are always inside the quotation mark. Okay? So you always put that inside the quotation mark, meaning that's included in the quotation, even though it's not written there or it's not said. Now, it says to correctly underline or put quotation marks around the titles in the following sentence. So, number 1, today's story in the New York Tribune is entitled, comma, tornadoes hit the Midwest. All right. Let's see, Nathan, what would be done in that particular sentence? I can't hear you. Your microphone's off. Still off? Can you not get it? Okay. Let's go to David then. David, what would you do in that particular sentence?
Quotation marks.
Okay, around what?
Tornadoes and after Midwest.
Okay, anything else?
New York Tribune.
Yes, and what would you do with that?
You would underline it?
Correct. Okay, so New York Tribune is underlined because that's the large thing. That's the newspaper. Inside the newspaper is the tornadoes hit the Midwest. Okay, that's the article inside, and that has quotation marks around it. The New York Tribune is underlined because that's the larger thing. So that's how it works. So just do that page, the rest of it, and then it gives you a reminder on the go back at the bottom that you put all quotation marks outside commas and periods, and then they give you, my favorite poems include Opportunity, The Highwayman, and The Charge of the Light Brigade. They're giving you examples there of how that works. Okay, so that is your assignment, page 160, 161. Write it in your book so that you don't forget, and make sure you do each of these. And don't forget, think A at the top, even though it's in a green box. You're supposed to do those last 3 sentences there. That first sentence, it should have been all ye shall be offended because of me this night. The quotation marks around that entire thing. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything?
Nope.
That's your assignment for today. If you weren't able to catch this, the earlier part, to check your work earlier, go back and watch this. And as I reminded those people that were there at the beginning, you are required to watch all videos each day. They're not very long, but it's to your advantage to do that. There is information in there that you need. Also, I only got 2 orders for stocks yesterday. There is a new video for today that you're supposed to watch. Hold on. There's a new video you're supposed to watch today that has the new prices in it. All right, so that you know what you can. What your prices are and what you can buy things at, how many you want to buy, that type of thing. I got one from Elijah and one from Angelica yesterday, and that was it. Okay? So make sure that you do it. Now, what was your question?
I did the video I watched yesterday. I didn't really understand what I was supposed to do.
Okay, so basically, you're supposed to send me a message with the things that it was actually pretty clear. I had sent you either text me or send me a chat message on Skype of the number of stocks that you want to buy, which ones and how many you want to buy. Or once you have some stocks, which ones you want to sell and how many you want to sell. All right. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, 1 second. 1 second, please. Okay. So does that make sense, Nathan, as far as that? All you do is you either write it on a piece of paper, or you can just send me the numbers on a text, or you can just send it in the chat. Either way. Okay. All right. Giselle, yes.
Did we do math today?
No, ma'am. Remember, if you look in your booklet, it does say there's a test today. And so you just do the math test, and then math is not due until tomorrow. Okay? All right. Sophia, go ahead.
Emma and we sent voice messages to you.
Do not send voice messages. I have told you guys not to do that. I don't want. In fact, in this video, I said only messages. What'd you do? Send a voice message on Skype?
No, for you, like the Skype.
On what? How? On what part?
On me, like Emma, me and you could like chat, and we set it on that.
On what? What are you chatting on?
On Skype.
That's what I just asked you, and you said no, it wasn't on Skype. So you left a message on Skype, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't send voice messages. Send exactly what you want. I said you can do it on chat. Just type it in there. And I would prefer, Sophia, that you don't leave voice messages because I can't see that right away. I have to actually go and listen to it, and I might not be available to do that. But if I see it right away, I'll know it's there. So just type them out. I know you guys enjoy the voice messages, and that's fun. But for the work that we're doing in school or for this particular thing, just actually type it out and tell me what it is that you want, okay? But I'll go back and listen to those. So you sent those yesterday? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yesterday.
Okay, I'll go back and listen to those now that I know that they're there and make sure that it is, I'll make sure your order's in for yesterday for that price, okay? All right,
Okay.
Nizar?
On what economy is it based on?
On what?
Economy?
Not the current one. In fact, did you watch the video, Nizar?
Yeah, I watched the video.
So what did I say about that in the video?
I don't remember. I watched it yesterday in the morning.
Oh, you've forgotten already, huh? Yeah, go back and watch it again. But basically, it's mostly not going to be on the way the economy is right now. It's basically just how our economy's sort of been. It's not going to be on any type of economy. It's not going to be like the 1929 stock market crash type of thing. Although we might have prices go down. But remember, we're only doing it for 10 days, and it's not easy to include all that in that short amount of time. You will have some stocks that will go down. You will have some stocks that will go up. You will have some stocks that I would say it like this. For the most part, most stocks are probably going to be generally the same or higher at the end, although there will be some that will probably be lower at the end.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you want me to tell you which ones, you have to pay me $100 to get that inside information.
Okay. I'll give you $100.
Not of that money. I'm talking about real money, man.
I barely
Okay,
have a penny.
I
Well,
don't have anything.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, and this is not the way that the normal stock market works, obviously, and so it would be difficult to do it that way, and it would be way too hard. We'd have to know a lot about the companies. I did explain that in the video about if you knew how a company was and the types of things. Now, what I did say was I will give you hints at times. That's why it's important to watch the videos if you're going to, try to make wise investments, because I will give hints of what rumors are going around. I call it the rumor mill. And I'll tell you in those videos what the rumor mill is about certain things. Now, there's nothing for today, nothing in the rumor mill today, but there will be some things like that, okay? And then you can figure out by the different types of companies how that might affect those companies, okay? Does that make sense? All right, go ahead, Alina.
When did the stock market game start?
Yesterday. I mentioned it yesterday, and I mentioned it in the video yesterday, and there was a video up there yesterday for it, and I mentioned it in our interactive class yesterday, and there is now a second one there too. So watch that one first, and then watch the second one as well. Now today, for anything you want to buy, would be on today's prices. So if you send me a message today, it's going to be on that new price. Or if you want to sell anything for those that did buy something yesterday, it's going to be on that new price. Okay, Giselle.
Do we have to buy the thingies?
You mean you just want to leave it like you don't have to participate if you don't want to? No. This is just a game for fun. It's up to you. But Giselle, if you do participate and you're one of the top 3, you get a homework pass, and then you also get a math lesson pass. So
Full lesson?
a full lesson pass. Right.
I'll participate.
Okay. Then go back and watch the video so you know what to do. Hi, Yuri.
Mr.
You just come
Jones,
in?
Yeah.
What happened? You're like 40 minutes late, and then we're just about done. That means you'll have to go back and watch the video then.
Mr. Jones,
Who is that?
Sophia,
Okay, go ahead, Sophia.
yesterday, my dad, he tried to look up the companies he couldn't find any.
Yeah, and Sophia, as I mentioned yesterday in the interactive video, I don't want you guys, your dad can't help you because these are not actual real companies. This is made up stuff. This is not actually from the stock market. The 8 companies, there's no such thing as Super Tires or Bonanza Burgers or anything like that. Those are not real companies. These are fake companies. It's just giving you an idea of how the stock market works. Thank you. I agree, Giselle. That was pretty funny. These are not real companies. So your dad can't help you in that way. He's not going to be able to help you as far as telling you, oh, yeah, this stock, I think it's going to go higher, or this stock, because you don't know. He doesn't know what's going to happen, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen ahead of time. It's just kind of, you have to kind of decide on your own. And that's why I give you hints and things like that so you can figure out what it means as far as what you think it means as far as the stocks and things. Okay. I guess she left. Okay. No, there she is. Oh, she did leave. Okay. All right. Any other questions about it? So Yuri, you have to go back and watch this video. It'll be up on the chat room. So as soon as it's done, and then you have your language there. There's no math today because you have a math test, but you need to watch it for the language so you know what to do and what the answers were for the ones from yesterday. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Remember, so watch it, Yuri. That'll be very helpful for you. All right. Have a good day. I'll end this call. See you guys later. Bye.
Yo, Taze, guess what's gonna happen in Fortnite?